Shalom everyone. I decided to do this video tonight as the topic at hand has always been a red flag for me due to the lack of evidences and history, in my opinion. And the topic at hand is the Kaaba, of course. Now, as we all know, the Kaaba is the most important and religious site for Muslims. According to Islam, Abraham and Ishmael were said to have built it, and that Allah told Abraham to build it, and that's very clear in Surah Al-Hajj, and if I can remember from the top of my head, I think it's verse 26. Now, in the Quran, the most important thing about Abraham was that he built the Kaaba. However, when we look at the Bible, the Kaaba isn't actually mentioned anywhere. Islam claims that Allah is the same God of the Bible, and if that were true, why wasn't the Kaaba mentioned anywhere in the Bible? Why wasn't the Kaaba mentioned anywhere in Jewish traditions? Why have the Christians never held the Kaaba in high importance? But there's just no mention of the Kaaba in the history of Christianity and Judaism before Islam. Only Islamic sources claim that Jews and Christians actually respected the Kaaba religiously, but there's just no evidence of that at all. The Kaaba isn't actually mentioned anywhere until the 8th century, which is pretty much 1 century after Islam and Muhammad. Now, there is a verse in the Quran that I actually want to read. Actually, there's 2 verses, and they're from Surah Al-Imran, and there are verses 96 and 97. They read, "Verily, the first house of worship appointed for mankind was that at Mecca, full of blessing and a guidance for al-Alamin, which is mankind and jinn being demons. In it are manifest signs, for example, the place of Abraham, whosoever enters it, he attains security, and Hajj, pilgrimage to Mecca, which I will touch upon in my next video. To the house, Kaaba, is a duty that mankind owes to Allah, those who can afford the expenses, and whoever disbelieves, then he is a disbeliever of Allah. Then Allah stands not in need of any of Alamin, mankind, jinn, and all that exists." Sorry, let me just put that away. Now, according to Islamic sources, the Kaaba before Islam was under complete control of idolatry, and it has been said that there have been hundreds of idols, over 300. The main idol at the time was called Hubal, and Hubal was the main idol of the Quraysh tribe, and Muhammad actually belonged to that tribe himself. I think it's very clear that it was a pagan site, and that only pagans really used that religiously. And I think I find it odd because here is Allah ordering Abraham to build it for him, for Allah, and here we read in Surah Al-Imran that the first house of worship appointed for mankind was that at Mecca, which clearly is the Kaaba. And if the Kaaba was specifically built for Allah and for Muslims, why were there pagans with idols there? It just doesn't make sense. And if Abraham built that for Muslims and for Allah, then there was no need for Muhammad to, what's the was no need for him to then take control of the Kaaba and then dedicate the Kaaba to Allah. And that's what actually ended up happening. So I think, in my opinion, Abraham didn't build the Kaaba. And in my opinion, nothing really here related to the Bible. Nothing related to the God of the Bible. Nothing related to the prophets, and nothing really related to monotheism. Sorry, can't pronounce that word properly. So that is just my opinion, and like I said, it was a red flag, and it still is, and I do not believe that Abraham actually built the Kaaba. Yeah, because he would have done it for Allah, and clearly, you know, before Islam, the pagans used the Kaaba, and the Kaaba was already there for the pagans. Anyways, that's just my opinion. And that's it for me. I decided to do a really short video this time because the last one was very, very long. So yeah, in my next videos, I do want to speak about the Hajj, which is the Islamic pilgrimage, which is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. I also thought about doing some videos on speaking in tongues, also the Kundalini spirit in today's churches. What else? I also will need to do my 3rd part of the testimony, so there's quite a lot that I have on my mind to do. But yes, this is it for me for now, and until next time, shalom.